Good morning students, I am Prakash Tripathi and today I am going to explain you the second part of the chapter Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood. In the first part you saw Sahib-e Alam, who is a rag picker, and he takes the narrator to Simapuri, and we came to know the lifestyle and the living standards of the people living in Simapuri who are involved in rag picking. In the second part there is another boy whose name is Mukesh, and he wants to become a mechanical engineer or a mechanic, and he wants to drive a car, and he is also living in the same condition, in a very miserable condition. And here the narrator describes Firozabad, a very famous place in Uttar Pradesh, which is rather famous for bangle makings. 20,000 children are involved in making bangles, and they are compelled to work in a very hazardous condition. They are working in a glass blowing industry. Glass blowing industry, you can understand in this way: a factory where glass is made. They are forced to work in a very high temperature in the furnaces. You know what is furnace? Furnace is an enclosed structure where you can melt any object to a very high temperature. So these children are working in a very high temperature in a dingy room. Dingy means very dark and dirty rooms, and often they lose their eyesight while working in these factories. And all this business which is going on in Firozabad bangle industry is illegal. The children are exploited. There are families which have been doing this thing for many years, in fact generations, and they are really living in a very, very miserable condition. They are exposed to, in fact, all sorts of health hazards, but still they are working. And now you must be wondering why these people are working in such a hazardous condition. But before that, we come to know what is the reason behind this. Let us know something important. As in last part you saw, the place where Simapuri, they were living in a tattered saris and a tattered clothes. Let us discuss something about the people and the hut and the place where they are living. I would like to tell you, when the Mukesh takes the narrator to the place where he is living, the place where they are made to work, he's just try to know the condition in which they are living. The factories which are settled there, which are in the Firozabad where they work, are stinking lanes. Stinking lanes means the lanes are filled with foul smell and choked with garbage. The lanes are choked with garbage. You can imagine how dirty that place must have been. And the crumbling walls means the walls are almost collapsing. They have wobbly doors. The room in which they are living is a dingy, as I told you earlier, means dirty and dark, with no windows, no outlet to refresh the air, and they are working in such hazardous condition. And one more thing, these poor people, these impoverished people, they have accepted whatever they are doing. In one paragraph, it is his karam, his destiny, says Mukesh's grandmother. The grandmother of Mukesh says that it is our destiny. Means they have accepted whatever has been imposed on them. They say that it cannot be changed. Can a God-given lineage ever be broken? Means they think that they are born in this family, and it is their job, it is their karma, it is their destiny, and it cannot be changed. In other words, they have accepted the exploitation which is imposed on them. Then the narrator mentions Savita, a young girl. She is wearing a dark drab dress, one day will come when she will also turn into a beautiful bride. The narrator says that she doesn't know the sanctity of the bangles which she is wearing. Sanctity means the purity of the bangles. It is in fact the suhag of every Indian woman in the society. A day will come when she will also wear the red bangles which she is making now, and she will turn into a bride. Now, one of the ladies says that is very thought-provoking, I think. See, एक वक्त शेर भर खाना भी नहीं खाया. That lady says that she has not eaten a full meal in the entire life of hers. What a tragedy! What a miserable condition you can imagine. A woman is saying that throughout my life I have not eaten a full meal. Now you must be wondering why all these things is going on. The narrator also is compelled to think about this, and she asked one of the youngsters there that why don't you organize into cooperatives. The narrator asks one of the youngsters, who is also lamenting the same thing as his father and forefathers were lamenting or echoing the same thing. Now he reveals one of the secret. When the narrator asked him, why don't you organize? He says that it is impossible. Suppose we organize, one of the policemen will come and he will drag us into the jail and charge us some illegal objects and allegations, you can say. I will repeat what he says. There is no leader among us, no one who could help us see things differently. So they are dragged into the jail, beaten for doing something illegal. So this is the reason why these people are not able to unite. If they unite, if they protest, if they try to raise something against the people or against the authority, they will be dragged to jail, beaten and charged something for doing something illegal. Now the narrator says that this world is divided into people, into categories. One is the one who does exploitation, and the other is the one who goes through all these exploitation, who the people who bear these exploitation. And now these people are surrounded by a vicious circle. This is a very important thing. And the vicious circle, dangerous circle, and these people includes sahukars, the people who give them a loan, money on high interest, the middleman, dalal you can say, broker, policeman, the keepers of law, the bureaucrats and the politicians. All these people, this vicious circle has imposed them. They are the people who are behind this exploitation, and people are not able to think differently. They have been doing the same job of welding and making the bangles for the last 30 years, and nobody dares to oppose them. Nobody dares to take the initiatives. Years of hard work have killed their dreams, and they are not able even to think positively, think in a different way. But Mukesh is thinking differently. The narrator feels great when she hears from Mukesh that I'm going to be mechanic, I'm going to change. At least there is one fellow who is thinking differently, and he says, I want to be a motor mechanic. He doesn't want to fly aeroplanes because very few aeroplanes fly in Firozabad. So here the narrator ends this chapter by saying that Mukesh is satisfied with his work and he wants to become mechanic, and there is a ray of hope that one day things will change. The people living in Firozabad who are engaged in bangle making will think differently and their plight will come to an end. So this is the end of the part second. Thank you. Have a nice day.